I needed that music.
We can play some music. It just would, overrule all of us.
It just made me feel good. It's been a long week, so
Yeah.
I don't know really what I'm supposed to do, but I think I'm supposed to introduce myself, and you're supposed to do the same as well, right? So maybe I'll just tell you quickly. We have what 10 minutes together, I think. Cool. So I'll tell you a little bit, and then you let me know what I'm missing. So I've been at UC since 2005. I'm a professor in the Department of Internal Medicine, and I actually study viruses. So in my lab, we do population and mechanistic studies of things like HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C. Um, at one point, well, over the years, I've had several different kind of positions that are relevant to people on the call. At one point, I was a PhD program director for the pathobiology and molecular medicine program. I ran our Office of Global Health at one point through the dean's office. Until recently, I was working with medical students around their interest in doing research. And currently, I work with a junior faculty training program that basically takes faculty members that are doing research already and helps them get a little bit more established at the university. I guess maybe of interest to this group, I know several people on the call already know it, but I run an HIV class. It's a 1 credit class that just finished all of last week. That's why it was a busy week. And then I run, when I run some study abroad classes where I have traditionally taken people mostly to South Africa and Botswana or Ghana, but I have also at one point or another taken students to Mexico, Tanzania, or China, either through my own classes or others. But with that, I'll stop and see what questions you have for me or what more you want to hear about, et cetera. Because anybody that's ever had me in class knows that I'll just keep on talking unless you make me stop. So.
I'll just start talking then to fill this gap. Um, so I'm Ajit. I was in your HIV class
Yeah.
and throughout the years, right? Um, I was just wondering what drew you to GlowMed, like to accept, the advisor position.
That's a good question. And, it's been a while because I think, again, I may have the year wrong, but it was certainly Julia and Stephanie that approached me. And I actually remember meeting them because I think at that point, Julia Tassett I had had in class. I had actually, it was right around the time that I was setting up my um, um, study abroad course in South Africa. And she was in that very first iteration that went. But I actually remember pretty clearly meeting with them because one of the things that drew me was more just the energy of people. And you think about like, I mean, you guys know your presidents. Come on, you know the other people in GlobeMed, and there's this infectiousness. I think that like, and I don't mean the COVID infectiousness. That word has gotten a bad rap here lately. But this wonderful energy that people have when they have good ideas and they're like, I'm not really asking for anything other than for your support and for your encouragement. And I don't know, I find that really cool. Um, Plus, I think for me, like Globe Med just epitomizes to me all the things that I like and that I want. Maybe not for myself, but just that I want for the world, where I want people here to actually care more about what's outside their own house. And I guess that's just the world I want to live in, sort of thing. So that really pulled me to it. The other thing I will say that I wasn't prepared for at the time, but I really actually kind of like is that there are some student groups that really struggle. They kind of limp along, and that's never been the case with GlobeMed. I keep waiting for a year where something just like the shit hits the fan for some reason, and maybe COVID is that year. I don't know, but there's still a good number of people on the call. So it's kind of cool where I can just step back and say, you know what, whatever I need to sign, whenever I need to show up, however I need to help, but it really is run by you, for you, with you, sort of thing. Yeah. Cool question though. You made me think about things I haven't thought about in a while. So
Yeah, I just think it's kind of funny because like whenever I talk to new members, I'm sure like some of the folks on this call feel the same. Like what really draws people in Globeman and makes them stay is just like the people around us. So
Yeah, no, it's a great group of people too. I mean, and I have to say I've met tons of students, of course. I mean, and and a lot of non-students too. I mean, the people that you work with in SAW or the people that you work with at the university in general, or like, our co-advisor, Robin Selzer, that many of you know. I mean, that was actually her class that took students to Mexico, and Robin's a great friend and a cool person, and it's also just an easy sell. Like when I go to the College of Medicine and I'm like, look, we've got some students that are doing some great work, and we need to support them when they do their benefit dinner. It's just a really easy thing to tell people about, because why wouldn't you want to support students doing good work for people other than just themselves, sort of thing. And yeah.
yeah.
Okay, somebody else chime in, because you know me, I'll just start talking about something random, or my cat will pop over here and decide to be in the video like he did a minute ago. He's looking at me now. He's coming back over. So how are you all coping with all this? How are Globe Med meetings been? Everything has been virtual all year, right? Does that feel just completely messed up, or you're like, yeah, whatever, it's 2020, or it's not
Yeah,
that
for
big of
sure.
a deal?
For sure, I can get started on that. So for me, I'd say that it feels like very off. Like it doesn't feel like a true meeting, but I feel like we've tried to like enhance and sort of simplify this portion so much that like I think we're getting closer to the real deal, but we're still not there, I'd say. But overall, I've enjoyed this semester of Globe Med. We've tried to find ways of like just talking like this in breakout rooms and things like
Yeah.
that. But I do feel I'm waiting for the next chance to meet in person or meet my committee in person again, because it feels
Yeah,
amazing just
yeah,
connecting to
it's
people.
tough like that, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
and I worry the next. I mean, I realize as we get kind of to the end of the semester, for the next few weeks, it may not matter as much because we're kind of finishing. But I just worry about like January or February, where it's super cold and rainy and nasty outside, or snowy, and we're still getting all of our um, well, most of our people time virtually.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say something that really struck me the other day, and it was something very basic that I hadn't considered, but it was an older person. So my mom is in her 70s. And it wasn't my mother, but it was somebody like that, who said, I haven't touched another human being in 6 months. And that, it just struck me of like, if you're a hugger, or if you're a very touchy feely type of person and you're either staying at home, or maybe you don't have roommates, or maybe you just don't have a lot, like there's a lot of people that right now are kind of going without physical contact, even if they've got a virtual contact, and that's got to be kind of wearing on people's mental health, I would imagine. So,
Yeah, for me, like what's super weird is not being able to have like those side conversations with people
yep.
during meetings. Like, when you're like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
like you can't do that anymore. And it's weird.
Well, I guess you could do it in the chat. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm that
It seems
person. So what
risky.
you just described, like like that would be me in a meeting anyway. And it's not that I necessarily get bored. It's more that it's just the person that I am. Like I'm running 2 or 3 conversations, and I'm never going to be intentionally making fun of somebody. But if there's an opportunity to laugh, I will.
Yeah.
And I've tried doing that in the chat, and then I realized that that I don't know if the person that I'm chatting with, who is somebody I know, but I don't know if I'm distracting them or not. Like, am I keeping them from doing their actual stuff on the meeting?
Right.
So it is what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are things going as far as, I don't even know if the Globe Med numbers are lower this year than they would have been in the past, or if there's more people, probably just as many, right? About the same.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's been about the same. Honestly, for this being our last meeting, having like 22 people, I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah, it actually, that's what I thought too. I'm like, yeah, because I've been in the room. I mean, at some point during a semester over the last several years where I've been in the room and there'll be 10 or 15 people. I mean, there can definitely be more, definitely be less. But I also have been in the room, particularly at the beginning of the semester, like, where you end up with 50 people. And um,
Mhm.
um, I think this idea of like doing the breakout rooms is kind of nice for things like that. Are you all completely, how do you know, do we have a good feel for how SAW is dealing with um, COVID and virtual and all this other stuff? I know you guys are all talking to them, but
Yeah, we actually talked to ATL on Thursday at SAW, so they're doing pretty well. There's a lot of lockdowns, like rolling lockdowns that have been occurring on off.
yeah,
Um, there's a lot of like tension in both like Burma and Thailand though, because one just had their election, the other one has an upcoming election, so kind of a lot of chaos around there. There's a lot of militarization, I think, on both
yeah,
fronts. But for the people that saw, no one's gotten COVID yet. Of the people who like live there, the students, they haven't really been able to hold the chop workshops.
yeah.
They held one, I think, in the last 6 months. It was like social distance and stuff, and but
Yeah,
then,
that's got to be hard. I mean, there's some places, I mean, you all know this better than anybody, but there's some places where protecting yourself from COVID is just much more difficult because of the situation, right? I mean, either the number of people or access to masks or how densely populated people are, et cetera. Yeah.
yeah, but they just kind of have these on-off lockdowns. So that's how they're.
Yeah, that always sounds crazy to me. But then I think about, well, I guess we just started a curfew, right? And I don't know if we need a lockdown, but we need something. Well, I guess we'll see if the curfew actually does anything. I don't know that many of us that are out at midnight, that actually that are out coughing on people at midnight. So I'm curious to see how this works. But
All I can say is, kids going out to Top Cats at 8 p.m. versus 10 p.m. isn't much of a.
yeah, exactly. Well, and somebody else pointed out to me, they're like, well, it's really going to affect the bars. And I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to give you that. But other activities, I'm like, I don't know that many, at least of our students, that would be, if you're out at midnight, yeah, sure. I was out at midnight too, but is that everybody? Probably not, right? Well, I think our time is running out, but just so that you all know, remember that my last name is probably the only one in the system, so that's Blackard. So if you've ever got any questions about research or GlobeMed or global health or I don't know, HIV, the viruses, whatever, just let me know. I'm not perfect at responding immediately, but I will respond. I'll put it that way. I won't delete the email until I respond to it. So. And thanks for all of your hard work with GlobeMed. I know that this hasn't been exactly an easy semester or a few months actually, because I guess this is actually kind of our second semester with having to deal with all this. So.
Well, thank you for talking with us.
Thank you all. I feel like I'm supposed to bump out of a room, but maybe they're closing us out. So.
Well, we'll see in a minute. Shaylin's pretty good with the prompts, but.
Okay. I'll let her take care of it because I'd be a mess if I have to do her job. I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't be able to do it yet. I'll learn, but I haven't learned yet. So
sometimes I have a bad habit of texting her and Noah during meetings, and I'll be texting her and she'll be like, "Stop texting, I'm trying to do break."
Well, at least she's honest in telling you that, right?
Yeah. Oh, for Jason.
You left.